If you haven't already, be sure to check out my review of Dragon Ball Super Episode 65. This episode review is going to contain a lot of spoilers, a lot of major spoilers, in fact, so you might want to check out the previous episode review or episode before you check this episode review out. Just a heads up. The previous episode of Dragon Ball Super ended during a climactic battle, and that climactic battle was against the merged Zamasu. Goku was struggling against a gigantic ki blast that Zamasu fired at him while using his Kamehameha. That is exactly where this episode picks up from. Goku's Kamehameha is struggling with Zamasu's gigantic ki blast, right? And Zamasu's trying so hard to make this attack hit Goku. But Goku's able to persevere. He's able to power up, get all of his energy going, and he puts it into one huge Kamehameha. You could even call it a burst Kamehameha, you know, like how Xenoverse 2 calls the attack a burst Kamehameha. He fired a burst Kamehameha through the ki blast, literally through it, and it hit Zamasu. Full contact, to where we get to see that Zamasu is affected by it because half of his face is turning into this gushy purple color, and it actually looks like goo. So Goku ends up going to try and attack Zamasu, but Zamasu grabs him, and then Goku uses the Kaioken during his Super Saiyan Blue transformation, just like he did in the Universe 6 arc, and he gets one good blow in on Zamasu, which sends Zamasu straight into the ground. But because of Goku using the Kaioken during his Super Saiyan Blue state, he powers down to his base form and basically passes out. Goku was also able to destroy that halo that was behind Zamasu's back during that entire fight scene. Zamasu gets up and he yells. He is pissed. He is beyond pissed at what Goku just did. So he's powering up and everything, right? And the gang's trying to figure out what to do. Vegeta remarks on how come Zamasu's face isn't healing from that attack. And Gowasu points out that only because the other half is mortal because, you know, Goku Black didn't wish for immortality like Zamasu did. So that's a pretty unique way to make it seem like Zamasu is able to be defeated because only half of him is immortal. And that's affecting his immortal side, the mortal half that is. Oh god, that's a real tongue twister. But I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. Vegeta points out how this could lead to a victory, but eventually him and Goku both agree that they're not actually at the power right now to take him down. But Goku points out that if they use the Potara earrings, that'd be enough to take him down. And Vegeta's really reluctant at first. He doesn't want to merge bodies with Goku, and understandably, because, you know, that's Vegeta's pride! You cannot do this to my pride! That was an awful Vegeta impersonation. I apologize. But then eventually Vegeta calms down and agrees to it, and this leads to the hype-up appearance of Vegito. After 21 years, we finally get to see Vegito for about 10 minutes. Now, here's the thing. I don't dislike this, because the scene that Vegito's a part of, he's fighting Zamasu, okay? The whole time Vegito's in there, he's fighting Zamasu, and it doesn't feel wasted, because every ability that Vegito has, he uses. He uses everything that he has. He goes Super Saiyan Blue, he uses the Spirit Sword, he shoots the final Kamehameha. To my knowledge, is the first time that we see it in an anime adaptation of Dragon Ball of any kind, which is badass if you ask me. I'm sure a lot of people out there would have liked to have seen more of him. Not gonna lie, I would have liked to have seen a bit more of him. But what we got was great because they fully utilized him in every single skill that he has used in the previous series. So props to Toei for doing that. Props to Toriyama. But the reason why he's not in the transformation for so long, and the reason why they explain how back in the Buu Saga Vegeta was able to split back into two people, the reason being is that if you're not a Supreme Kai or a Kaioshin, and you're wearing the earrings to fuse, you have a 1 hour time limit. I'm not a fan of that, not at all. I like the fact that the Potara earrings were used as a ultimate fusion, like a permanent fusion. The fact that the fusion wears off on those who aren't Supreme Kais just feels kind of redundant to me. But I guess it's a okay way to try and explain what happened in the Buu Saga, but at the same time, I'm not satisfied. Hell, Vegito's not even in the fusion for an hour, and it's because he's using up too much energy. It's like, gee, Gowasu, you think that you would have told him that before they decided to fuse? So they would have known? God, man, that's a real plot hole right there. It's like Gowasu kind of forgot. Jesus Christ, man. Are you sure this is Gowasu or is this Akira Toriyama? You know Akira Toriyama once thought that Super Saiyan 2 was Super Saiyan 3? Come on, man! It's your own series. How do you forget? Whatever. It's Akira Toriyama. I can't be mad at him. He gave me this series that I love, and I'm very thankful for it. So this whole fight between Zamasu and Vegito is pretty badass. The animation is spot on. It's probably the best animation that Dragon Ball Super has seen. And I'm not exaggerating, because I watched this full with a friend, first time watching it, and I gotta say, I went back and watched it, and it is just as good, if not better, than some of the earlier episodes in Dragon Ball Super. It's really consistent, really, you actually feel the impact of the punches and shit, and all the fast movement is just badass. It feels like a Dragon Ball fight. So right before Vegito's about to unfuse, Zamasu gets upset and he starts crying. And, he's doing all these monologues, but when he starts crying, Vegito's like, geez, man, are you really crying? Like, come on now. But then Zamasu says that his tears will purify this world, essentially. And, Zamasu straight up monologuing, which is fine. That's what his character does, and that's okay. And he starts to get buffer and buffer and buffer because I guess he's gaining more power. He's using more of his power. And the first thing I thought was like, man, is this Zamasu or Garlic Jr.? You know what I mean? So Vegito lands this devastating punch that is sending Zamasu down towards the ground. And during this punch, that's when Vegito splits into two different people. Again, thanks Gowasu for not telling them beforehand to, conserve their energy. Thanks. About as useless as Bulma was a few episodes ago. So while this fight's happening, there's a scene where Trunks takes his broken blade and he turns it into a ki sword. He literally takes ki and turns it into a sword. And it's just like, oh, well, okay. I guess that's a thing now. And this leads into what he does during the final battle. So you think that Zamasu's going to take out Goku and Vegeta for good, but then Trunks steps in with this sword, and him and Zamasu have a go at it. They're fighting, and then eventually Trunks, I guess, uses the energy of everyone around him, all the people that he loves and supports, all the people that he's fighting for. I guess they somehow convert their energy to him, almost like a Genki Dama or a Spirit Bomb as they call it in the dub. I literally think this is like a Spirit Bomb because he takes the energy, it's formed into a little blue ball above Trunks, and he takes it, puts it into his sword, stabs Zamasu, and slices that son of a bitch in half. And that is how the episode ends. Now, here's the thing. Normally I'd be talking about plot details, but right now I just want to be talking about, like, what the hell? First off, I'm really glad that Trunks got the kill on Zamasu. I really am. Very fitting. He's the one who deserved it more so than anyone else in the series. But at the same time, really? Like, that's how they do it? Of all ways? He somehow learns the Genki Dama, or whatever the hell that thing was, and all the energy from that basically unpopulated Earth was enough to take down Zamasu? Now, I had a talk with a friend earlier, and we both pretty much agreed that I guess it makes sense since he did take energy from Goku and Vegeta, who essentially have the energy of gods now, and he used their energy in this attack, which, by the way, pretty badass. The attack itself was visually stunning. Really, really well done. And the music in the background, which is the Birth of a Super Saiyan God track by, Sumitomo. That alone was enough to make the scene memorable. But man, it's just a shame that this arc is going to end so soon, because they could have stretched this fight out for another episode or two, and I wouldn't have complained, because quite frankly, it just feels like it ended so abruptly. That's my biggest gripe here, is that the way Trunks kills him with the Genki Dama sword thing, whatever it is, I like it. I like the concept. I really do. However, I just feel it came out of nowhere and there was no real build-up to it. And that is my biggest complaint with this episode, is that there was not enough build-up to the grand finale. We all thought Vegito was going to do it, and Trunks just kind of came out of nowhere and finished the job. I'm glad Trunks got the kill. I really am. It should have been built up more. They should have built it up more, and it just kind of bothers me that they didn't. It just felt out of nowhere. But who knows, the next episode is probably going to show off some things, and who knows, maybe they'll prove me wrong right now, and Trunks will say like, oh, I've always known it, or some bullshit like that. I don't know what they have planned. Hopefully they do something to prove me wrong, but until then, I'm feeling really conflicted about this episode. The animation and music was really good, all that was spot on, crisp, everything, but at the same time, a lot of the plot holes and inconsistencies really throw me off on, like, fully liking this episode. There were a lot of things that really hyped me up, like getting to see Vegito again. That was cool. That was awesome. I'm so glad they brought Vegito back. But at the same time, like everyone else, I would have liked to have seen more of him. But I also said earlier, they did fully utilize him, so I can't complain too much. And that Trunks finale, I'm not even going to go on that again, because I like it visually and conceptually. They just need to explain things better, because it feels like they're pulling things out of their ass. This is definitely the best arc of the series, I will not lie, but at the same time, you gotta understand that this arc was the only real good thing to come out of this series, aside from the Universe 6 stuff, which, a lot of it was interesting, it just needed better execution. That's all. But this episode was mixed for me. And if you want to check it out, go ahead. Just remember that there are plot holes and inconsistencies up the ass in this episode. So if you don't mind, throwing those out of the window, then you'll enjoy it. I also want to make mention that the next episode review will probably be my last for Dragon Ball Super, because after that I plan on doing arc reviews instead of episode reviews, because I love doing the episode reviews, but with an arc I can analyze more and write down more notes. These are mainly improv, I'm sure you can tell. If you want to see arc reviews instead of episode reviews, leave a comment down below, or if you want to see the other, vice versa, episode reviews instead of arc reviews, leave a comment down below. I love getting feedback from my audience, I really do, and I appreciate it. This was one of the ways for me to express my love for Dragon Ball. And hopefully I get to do more of it down the line. Because honestly, Dragon Ball, Godzilla, and pro wrestling, all those things combined, especially, comic books too, like Marvel, like Spider-Man and Batman, they're part of the reason why I'm able to express my creativity so freely. Because they motivate me, they inspire me. And I am so glad I've been able to talk about Dragon Ball on this channel. I just got to say, for all those who sat around through this whole thing and enjoyed it, thank you very much. Without your support, none of this would have, continued. And for those of you who have stuck around for most of it, I appreciate it as well. Thank you. This is Gojira 2012 saying farewell. For now, the next episode review may be the last.